Oh, hey, this is Dr. Berry. Let's talk for a few minutes about how you can stop those carb cravings that are driving you crazy and ruining your diet. I've suffered from them in my journey towards health and lower weight and better health. You've suffered from them. Let's talk about some strategies you can use to stop carb cravings. Now, if you know someone who's having trouble with carb cravings, you can share this with them on their Facebook, their Twitter, their Instagram. Please share this on your Facebook page, in your keto groups, low carb groups, because so many people fall off the wagon because of stupid carb cravings. And I'm going to help you today to understand what you can do to stop them. So let's get into this. The very first thing is you need to slowly but surely transition to a ketogenic, low carb, healthy fat diet. As you get away from the carbs, it's almost like getting away from alcohol or cigarettes or any other addiction or pseudo addiction. It just gets easier to say no. But now, when you're first transitioning to that low carb, healthy fat or ketogenic diet, it can be very, very hard to say no to the carbs, especially the processed carbs in cardboard boxes with smiley faces and clowns and children and elves. It's really hard to say no to those sometimes. And so here are some strategies you can use to make it easier to say no. First of all, you can make sure you're getting all of your electrolytes and all of your minerals. You can do this by eating mineral and electrolyte rich foods, or you can supplement. That's up to you. The more and more you eat keto, I want you to eat a very whole food, unprocessed ketogenic diet. And that's an excellent way to get all of your minerals, all of your vitamins, all of your electrolytes. But if you are deficient in a mineral, and you can ask pregnant women about this, if you are deficient enough in a mineral, you will crave things like you've never craved things in your life, including ice and dirt and baking soda. And so you have to make sure your body's getting all the vitamins, minerals, and electrolytes that it needs, or you'll have weird cravings that can translate themselves into carbohydrate cravings, which can throw you off your diet. Another thing that you can do, a quick and dirty trick, is to always have an avocado on hand. Okay, avocados are full of good fats. They're pretty low carb. They have lots of magnesium, lots of potassium. So if you're in the midst of a carb craving, eat an avocado. Heck, eat two avocados. That's infinitely better than eating some kind of processed garbage that you might give way to if you don't take care of this craving. Another great thing to do is go for a walk. And the reason I say this is because many times that carbohydrate craving has a lot to do with your mental state. It has a lot to do with the social or the family situation you're right in the middle of. And so if you go for a walk, you kind of break that cycle, right? Get out of the house, get out of the office, go for even a 5-minute walk. I'm not talking about walking as exercise. I'm talking about walking as getting out of the house, getting out of the office, doing something for 5 or 10 minutes. Many times that makes a craving go completely away. Now, shift workers will tell you that when you are sleep deprived, you will grab the first thing that the yuckiest junk food that's in front of your face. And so you have to honor your sleep, and you have to make sure you're getting enough sleep and getting enough good sleep, or you will have worse carb cravings. I used to work in the emergency department, and then I would come work in the clinic the next day. And I can just tell you, when the drug rep showed up with those jelly donuts, yeah, I partook because I couldn't say no, because I was already exhausted from losing sleep all night. My cortisol was high, everything was out of whack, and I ate the donuts, right? Those days are gone now, and I honor my sleep, and I need you to do that as well, because when you honor your sleep and get enough good sleep, it's so much easier to say no to the occasional carb craving. Another great strategy that kind of fits in with the previous two is to get more sun. Sunlight can help you break bad habits. Being out in the sun, being out in nature, seeing the blues and the greens and the sun in the sky can help you just focus more on a healthy life and a healthy diet, and just help you have a better focus on life in general. And a lot of times, if you can just get out in the sun for 5 minutes, that carb craving will go away. Another thing that some people can use to take care of their carb cravings, but you have to be careful with this, is no-calorie sweeteners like stevia, monk fruit. Some people even use NutraSweet or stevia or the yellow one, right? The yellow, pink, the blue, or the green. And so I'm not necessarily opposed to these, but you have to be very careful with them. Fire is a very powerful tool, but if you misuse it, it will burn the house down, right? And I think no calorie sweeteners are the same way. Many people use them as a tool as they're starting a ketogenic way of eating or a low carb, healthy fat diet. And then as they get further into that diet, they just kind of wean down and stop using the sweeteners. And I think that's the ideal way to do this. But if you're just getting started, a lot of times using something that's sweetened with a 0-calorie sweetener can save the day because you didn't just eat 20, 30 grams of carbs and you satiated that sweet tooth temporarily. But other people have to be very careful with this. Using a 0-calorie sweetener can actually fire up the sweet tooth and get the carb cravings back again. So you have to know you, and you have to know, is this going to work for you or not? One thing that works very well for me, it still works. I don't have carb cravings that much anymore because I've done multiple of these strategies through the months and through the years, but that's butter coffee or MCT oil coffee or keto coffee, right? Some people call it bulletproof coffee, but that's a name brand, so I try to avoid that. But the whole point of this, especially if you have your carb cravings earlier in the day, like before lunch or right at lunchtime, sipping on some coffee with a little bit of fat in it can satiate you, right? It can give you the leptin and the ghrelin hormone hack that you need without elevating the insulin. And so it turns off your hunger so you didn't just grab that jelly donut or whatever garbage might be lying around the office. This works wonderfully for me. You don't want to put too much fat in the coffee. More fat is not magic, but a little bit of fat will satiate you and keep you from messing up your diet. Another great thing that you can do is try a month of 0-carb or carnivore. And so if you've been doing keto or low carb healthy fat for months and months, but you're still having the cravings, it could be a gut bacteria issue. And so for me, years into keto, I was still having carb cravings occasionally, especially in the evenings. And I'm going to talk about a good trick for that next. But I went carnivore, and I actually did it for several months, and I'm still doing it. But the carb cravings went completely away. And so now you could sit the most delicious looking cake or pie or dessert in front of me, and I'm just like, no, thank you. I don't want that. I don't need that. I have no desire for it whatsoever. And it's really a very powerful place to be in your life and in your diet, especially in this Western society that we live in that has a McWindy Kings on every corner. And you can buy all these sweet prepackaged carbs at China Mart. It's a great place to be to just have no desire for them whatsoever. And so even for people who have no intention of staying carnivore for long periods of time, I think a 2-week or a 4-week fatty meat carnivore diet will basically make the carb-loving bacteria in your gut pack up and leave. And for many, many people, that has been the breakthrough that helped them completely break the carb cravings. Okay. Now, another great one is fat bombs. And I know there's a little bit of controversy about this in the ketogenic community. I don't think you should live on fat bombs. I don't think you should eat them every day and eat 5, 10, 20 of them. But I think especially when you're first coming to this way of eating, it's great to have some sweet and some savory fat bombs already made up in the fridge, because for me personally, my biggest carb craving was in the evening, about 7 or 8 p.m. I would just be walking around the kitchen looking for some kind of carb. And Nisha would be like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. I'm just craving something." And so it was so helpful to have a fat bomb in the fridge that I could reach and get. The fat satiated my hunger, but I didn't just eat 5, 10, 20, 30, 50 grams of carbs and I left the kitchen, right? Now, as you keto more and more and more, you'll probably find you don't need fat bombs that much. But I think it's a great hack to have in the fridge some savory and some fat, savory and sweet fat bombs. That's a great tool to get you through and get you by the carb craving. And then as months go by, you'll slowly stop having the sweet fat bombs and just have the savory fat bombs. And then you might not have fat bombs at all anymore. We don't have them anymore at all, but we used to use them a lot when we were first learning how to eat low carb healthy fat. Another great thing that works for me like magic almost is a pinch of unprocessed real salt under my tongue. And so when I would have that carb craving, I would just get a pinch of salt, put it under my tongue, or even put some in my butter coffee. Salt is magic, and I don't know if it's because of the minerals in the salt that I was deficient and I needed a mineral or an electrolyte, but the cravings just go away. And that's a great hack to use so that you don't mess up and eat a bunch of garbage, right? Now, I want to know what works for you. If you have another strategy, another hack that you use to fight your carb craving, please leave it in the comments below. People read the comments, and that way you can help other people as well. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please consider clicking the subscribe button. It's right down there under the video, and there's a little button right beside it that looks like a bell. If you click that bell, then you'll get a notification every time I have a bright idea. If my videos have helped your health, helped your weight loss journey a little bit, then you can click on the Patreon link. It's right down there. Sign up very quickly, and you can throw a buck or two my way so that I have more time to make videos just like this one. This is Dr. Barry. I'll see you next time.